So when you're looking at numbers, right, it's really easy to say, I just want to do X number of deals, or I want to do, I want to make however much money. But nobody actually takes the time to break down what actually they're going to make per deal, right? So when, when we used to do it quarterly, and then, last year with, everything going on and just the growth and things like that, we didn't have the time to go through it like we used to, but it's something that we need to start going back through and doing at least on a quarterly basis. But you need to start at what you want to make each year. Okay. So you're going to start with an income goal. So let's say, for example, I want to make 100 grand. Okay. I need to figure out how I'm going to get to that 100 grand this year. So maybe that's, Dan, you're doing this part-time. Maybe that's 30 grand. Maybe that's 40 grand. It doesn't really matter. But at the end of the day, if you know what your numbers are, you know how many deals you need to do, and you know what that's going to equate to when it comes to income. So like Pete was saying, if you have historical data of what your average price point is over the last year, ours as a team last year was 240,000. So I know that I'm going to break everything down this year off of 250. I'm going to just increase it by 10 grand, 15 grand or something like that. So if your average price point last year was 175, increase it to 185, 190 this year is what I would do. We know on average, we're at about 2.7% commission rate. We get a little bit more on listings. You get a little bit less now because everybody's only offering up 2.5% when it comes to the buy side commission. So let me see if I can, it might be easier to just put it in here. So let's say, what's that?
You have the spreadsheet that type in XYZ deal, you know what I'm talking
Not
about?
in front of me, but we'll just put it in here and we'll just do the math just so you can see it. So this year I'm going to be at 250. I know 2.7%. So math wise, 250 times 0.027 is 67.50. I'm going to make per deal. Now I'm going to collect an admin fee. So I would add that in, right? So let's say you're going to collect, let's just say 250, for example, right? So I'm at 6,750 and I'm going to collect a 250 admin fee. I'm going to get $7,000 gross commission per file, right? This is where most agents stop. They say, well, I'm going to make, I'm going to make $7,000 a deal. Well, you're not, because the broker hasn't taken their cut. Or if you're on a team, they haven't taken their cut. So you have to now take out what the broker is going to take out of this. So if you're, everybody here is at Exp right now. If you're an uncapped agent, they're going to take 20% off. So 7,000 times 0.2, they're going to take $1,400 off. We know they have a $25 broker review fee. So I'm going to add that in. I know they're going to take E&O insurance. I'm going to add that in. That's $1,465 that the broker split is going to take off the top. What am I missing? Am I missing anything? I feel like I'm missing something. Maybe not.
No, I don't think so.
Like I participate in the 5% stock program. So I would take 5% out of that because I don't want to know what my true cash flow is. But that's really the retirement. You're really earning that money. But so just for this example purpose, I know that based on the average price point with the average commission, I'm gonna net $5,535. It might not be that high for you, right? Kenny, your price point might be lower. That's okay. You just need to figure out what it is and have a realistic expectation of what it's gonna be. It doesn't do anybody any good. It doesn't do you any good to say, oh, well, I'm gonna bump my price point up. I'm gonna go all luxury and I'm gonna sell 500,000 homes because it's just not gonna happen. So you'd rather be conservative with these numbers and know how many deals you need to do in order to hit your goals. But I know if I want to make 100 grand this year, and I know these numbers, I'm going to take 100 grand divided by 5,535. That means I only got to do 18 deals this year.
And off of that though, something that you did with me that was also very productive is, so from 5535, if you take out 25%, that's your taxes.
Yeah.
So that is, I think, a very important number to put.
Well, I mean, we're just
In
talking,
your-
what you want to, this is net income before taxes.
Right, just just to clarify, because that's something where, I mean, even paying my taxes, I knew I had to do it, but just for the sake of doing the math, it feels like it's very important to factor in, this isn't your total money, it's your net profit prior to tax, so.
Yeah. But getting to this number, right? That's kind of the, I don't want to say the easy part, but that's the easy part, right? Now, like Jimmy, your example might be different. You might have to break it down where you're going to get some team deals at a certain split. You're going to have some personal deals at a certain split. So there's going to be a couple things that are going to need to be adjusted here. But in terms of how do I actually break down what I need to do each year? And now I need to look at where are these 18 deals going to come from if that's my goal. And I mean, quite honestly, we overcomplicate a lot of things. 18 deals can come from one lead source. Like, you don't have to do expired, FSBOs, buyer leads, open houses. You could do 18 deals off of strictly open houses, go super deep and committed on open houses, like if that's the goal. So the next step in the process that I always want to go through is start figuring out how my time is going to be spent and how is that going to break down into what my business needs to look like, right? Jimmy, do you have a question? I saw you jump on.
I was just saying, like, with my price point, it's hard to determine that because I have people all over the place. I have $200,000 buyers, $600,000 buyers, $400,000 sellers. Like, it's hard to break down, but it's just to keep all those types of things in mind in the pipeline and realize.
Well, you can't. I mean, you can't. Then just go based off of the local average.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll go based off our average price point is 240. But if you go Allegheny County or Pittsburgh, I think I want to say, I don't know why I got 195 in my head or something like that.
I did it at 225.
Yeah.
Like,
do it low. Do it at 200. So do an extra
200.
deal. And then if your average price point's higher, you make more money.
Yeah.
You don't want to overestimate. You want to underestimate. So for every 400 you get, you're going to have a $80,000 investment property that's going to even it out, right? Like, we have a bunch of those. We have higher end properties, but we also sell $50,000 houses. So
Yep.
just the way it is. So what we don't do is we spend too much time on the shit that doesn't make any money, and we don't spend enough time on the stuff that's actually going to get us there. So the way that I've always looked at this business, like, let's take DJ, for example. I know that now he's a highly skilled salesperson. If he makes 3 hours worth of phone calls, he's going to get a listing. I just know that now, based off the number of calls. Some days it might be 3, some days it might be 0, but it's going to average out to 3 hours of time equals a listing. So if I can get him to call 5 days a week, 3 hours a day, that should be 5 listing appointments a week that he would be able to generate based on the activities that he's doing. So when you start thinking about, well, I'm not as skilled as him, I'm not, whatever the case may be, I would, on a conservative basis, say that 5 hours of new business development time, whatever that equates to, should get you a client. Okay, so maybe that means I'm going to have two open houses that are, one day I'm there 2 hours, the other one I'm there 3 hours. If I hold 2 open houses and I put 5 hours of work into that, or maybe I hold 2 hours and I walk the neighborhood before that and pass out flyers or something, I know I should get on average about a client out. And now if I did 2 every weekend, then I should get potentially 4 legit clients. These aren't just people that you talk to. I mean, you're gonna build a pipeline while you do this. The same thing equates to if you've got leads coming in. So let's say you got Facebook leads coming in. You get 30 a month, 40 a month. I've always looked at everything as how many leads does it take to get a client? And it depends where they come from. So if I'm going to run Facebook ads, I know that 30, probably closer to 40 now, people that come through, there should be a closing out of those people. Yes, a lot of them are going to be, they're going to be tire kickers, whatever you want to say. But if I spend a certain amount of time following up with all of those leads and following up with those leads, I know every 5 hours of activity, I'm getting a client. The problem is we don't spend enough time following up with or putting our time into what activities we need to be doing in order to get there. So when you break down your goals, it's great. Well, I need to do 18 deals. Well, where are my 18 deals coming from? Right?
And off of that, can you guys hear me whenever I'm talking through his computer? Yes, no,
Yep.
maybe.
Yep.
So the thing to keep in mind too is you work for 5 hours, you get 1 client, and that's $5,300. The reason real estate can be so profitable is if you have those 4 clients, that's 20 hours for $20,000. And the 20 hours is just getting them. The other 20 of your week is the running around, showing houses, doing paperwork. So you work 40 hours a week, you make $20,000. That's why some people make a lot of money and everyone else doesn't, because everyone else doesn't do this.
Yeah. So really what you need to break down is where am I going to spend my time? Because not everybody has to do the same thing to hit the goals. I mean, the reason that people do open houses when you're starting is because it's free. All you need to have is a house open. You could do, if you got vacant properties, you can do as many open houses as you want. That's a free lead source. You can buy leads, right? So that's time. Or you can spend a whole bunch of money on Zillow leads and have that. You're basically paying for somebody else's time. You're paying Zillow to bring people to traffic. The traffic comes in. They've got people making the calls. They're scrubbing them. They're handing them off to you. And you're paying 5 to 10 times what you would pay to get the same lead through Facebook if you only made the same calls that they do on the back end. So it really comes down to what kind of budget do you have, if you have any? If you don't, that's okay. Now you got to concentrate on what are the free lead sources and what are the super low cost lead sources that I can get, or you take advantage of Op City or one of those where you're getting that stuff. Yeah, you're paying a referral fee, so you got to take that into account with your breakdown of your numbers. But you need to start with those. And I think the problem that everybody has is everyone does too many things and doesn't just concentrate on the one thing. So the really dumb people who just only do one thing every day and don't worry about anything else and don't have all these follow-ups, like they can do 40, 50 deals a year because all they do is just come in and call people every day and then they go home. But we try to do 16 different things and we don't go deep enough with any of them, and we end up not hitting the goals that we want to hit because we got priority confusion.
So do the sheet down here. So if you work 50 hours,
Yeah.
I'll do it real quick with you. So it's 50, 25% is 12 and a half, 12.5.
We'll just do 40 hours. 40 hours is 10 hours.
10:30.
Mm-hmm. So if you're going to work a 40-hour week in real estate, this is what I was always taught. This is what I always tried to do. Especially when I was new. I started, like when I came to Pittsburgh, I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any built-in business. And I was good at figuring out, this was when it wasn't as saturated as it is now, but I could generate Facebook leads. I knew how to run ads. And my whole goal was I would come in the first 2 hours of the day, I would call expired listings. I liked expireds. I was nowhere near as skilled as I am today, or not even as skilled as what like a DJ is today, but I put in the work, and I just on sheer numbers, I got lucky and I got listings off of that. And then I think I had like $150 a month that I budgeted to generate Facebook leads. And I knew I could get them about $5 a clip. And if I got 30 of those every month, I could generate a buyer out of that. I just had to continue to call and follow up with those people. And then the second month, you'd get another one, and that would probably turn into 3 because one of the other ones would start turning into a nurture. And I basically just started building a business that way. And did I always hit those numbers? No. But I only did 2 things, and I got pretty good at both of them, where coming into my second year of business, I had a database of people that I could talk to every day. And I knew if I just did these 2 things, if I hit the 2 hours there, and then I would spend an hour to 2 hours following up with all the buyer leads that came in. And then ideally, you would be going out on appointments the other period of time. So if you're going to break down what should a perfect day look like? Out of your 30 hours a week, if you should be spending 15 of those hours on some kind of prospecting activities or outbound, or whether that's open houses, whether that's calling all the buyer leads, like the database that we've got 7,000 people in there that can be called. You could be running Facebook ads you can get at $5 a clip. Like those people should be called. And then the other 15 hours ideally is you're out on appointments, making presentations to a seller, or you're showing buyers, or whatever the case is. And then the other 25% of the time, which is your 10 hours a week, is stuff like this, right? You're working on your business, or maybe you're just cleaning up files or all that. Like what we do is we wake up and we got one deal under contract and we got 2 emails on it when we wake up in the morning, and then we respond to that email, and then another email comes in 20 minutes later and we respond to that. And then it ends up like our whole day just snowballs totally out of control. And we don't spend any time on the stuff that actually makes us money. And we never actually hit the goals that we want because we never put the time in that is required in order to get there. And really it's a simple business. Like real estate is a simple business. The reason I got into real estate is because I was on the mortgage side, and that, that market was crazy back in the day. And I just knew this is one of those industries that as much effort as I was willing to put in, I knew I could make that much money back out. So the problem is we overcomplicate it, and we never go deep enough with whatever we choose to do. The hard part's figuring out what our best use of time is. But once you know that, or once you commit to something, maybe that's committing to, maybe Kenny, maybe you got to commit to FSBOs, right? I'm going to just commit to for sale by owners. I'm going to spend an hour a day calling for sale by owners. And you're going to just get dumb luck. You're going to get a couple of listing appointments off that. And let's say you get 2 and you get one of them to actually sign up with you. You're the person that's still standing at the end of the day. That's 12 listings a year, and you sell 9 or 10 of them. Right there's half your business, spending an hour a day. But you have to commit to it, and you have to just say, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to commit to the activities that it's going to take in order to get me there.
So what I was going to ask then is, let's do it real quick for, you kind of already did for open houses, kind of already did it for the FSBO expireds. So just do the math real quick. What else is on this document? If you scroll down.
I have other stuff on there.
Okay,
Just not.
16 pages. That's why I was asking. I don't think we're doing all 16. Okay, how much time am I willing to put in? 40 hours, right? And then just do that again real quick, because like this is the writer downer, guys, because it's 25% is 10, 30% is 75.
Yeah, so let's say I got 10, 30. So if I put 15 hours in per week towards outbound prospecting activities as a newer agent, let's just say I should get 3 per week. Monthly, I should have 12.
People you're actively talking to.
Actively working with, talking to. This isn't, just send me an email and you never hear from them again. This isn't, sir, this is somebody that you're actively working with.
Like they answer when you call them.
Yeah. Let's say if you do that, 25% of them close, let's say. I've got divided by 3 in here, which will put you at 4 deals a month. Let's say even less than that. If you generate 12 active clients off of those activities, like, can you understand that if you just spent 5 hours a day calling for sale by owners, or you spent 5 hours at an open house every weekend, do you think you could get 1 client out of that? Or if you came in here and sat down, Jimmy, for 5 hours and called the database we've got in follow-up boss with 7,000 people in it, do you think you could get a client out of that? Someone that you're working
I think
with?
so. I mean, the open house I held open for Shanny was a perfect example. A list and a buy that equates to potentially 900,000 in volume. So
Right.
it's definitely 100% possible. Just got to put the
Right. So
Working and be consistent.
exactly. So let's say that's all you do. Let's say, Kenny, we just say, hey, we're gonna run a Facebook ad in your target market, and it's gonna cost you $250 a month, and you're gonna get 40 to 50 leads that come in off of that. And some of them are gonna be total bullshit. They're gonna be rentals. They're gonna be, they were looking at cat photos, and then all of a sudden they saw your house pop up and they clicked. A lot of them are gonna be total junk. But of those 40 to 50 people, I guarantee you 2 or 3 of them are probably buying a home in the next 12 months. It might not be right now, but it's going to be. So let's say I'm going to commit to that every month, that I'm going to generate 40 to 50 leads that are going to come in through Facebook, because Facebook is the cheapest lead source right now. And I am going to reach 80% of those people. Some people are never going to answer the phone. That's okay. But you got to call them, and you got to continually call them, and you got to text them, and you got to follow up with them. But do you think if you committed to that every month, I'm going to put into my CRM, I'm going to bring into KV Core, I'm going to put it into my database, 40 to 50 new people within a 15-mile radius or wherever I'm running my ad from of my house that I would want to work, that I have to continually follow up with. And now month 2, I'm going to add another 40 to 50 people. So now I got 80 to 100 people in my database that I have to continually follow up with. If I did that every month, could I get 10 closings a year out? Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't be possible.
Right? Like, we overcomplicate this business. It is just math.
And so off of that, what he was just saying too, so you told me at one point in time, and this may have changed, but the average for a Facebook lead, is an online lead, average conversion is 3%. So if you have
2%.
2%, okay, well, that's even better. So my math is a little wrong. Okay, call it 3, because I already did the math in my head real quick. If you have 45 people that come over a month, that's 1.35. And if you want to do 10 deals from that lead source, just take 10 divided by 0.2. Well, hold on, what is that? 10 divided by 0.2, you need 500 people in your database. And if you're better than most people, and it's 3% average closing rate, you need 333 people. So you run a Facebook ad for 6 months, and you have 300 people in there, and you put them all in some sort of email / you call them consistently. Of those 300 people divided by 0.2 or 0.3 or 0.25, like, you're gonna get 8 to 10 deals, but you have to do something first for 6 months. That's why postcards work also, but you have to do it for a year, because you've hit 500 people 12 times. And whenever they decide to sell, they go, I'm gonna call John. And John Smith is my real estate agent, because this dude just mails me shit all the time. It's the top of mind aspect that is the key to, I think, what you're talking about too, is just staying top of mind.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you're building a database of people that you have the ability to follow up with. You have the ability to market to them now. If you wanted to do branding, right? You wanted to have you want to have an ad running on Facebook consistently. You have a whole list of people now that you can retarget to. You got a list of people that you can send a weekly email newsletter or something to. You got, like, all of those people aren't junk, right? Like, we look at these Facebook leads as garbage a lot of times, because they don't convert at a high level like a Zillow lead or a realtor.com lead does, right? But that Facebook guy or girl who who clicks on the link and signs up, right? Like we run a new construction ad. They click on there, click here to get a free list of new construction homes in Westmoreland County. They click on that. They go, they start looking at new construction homes. Why would somebody click on that? Maybe they're just a tire kicker. Maybe they're just curious. But if they're that interested and they're going to go through and they're going to fill out a form to get a free list of new construction homes, there's a pretty good chance they might do something over the next year or two. The problem is we might call them and they don't answer because they're just really not that interested right now. That person that we just captured for $3-4 a lead is the same person 12 months from now who's filling out a Zillow request and some agents running out and chasing them and getting the deal. We have that person already in our database. That's how we got to start looking at the database side of things too. We're capturing that person up front and we're getting them for pennies on the dollar, but we don't follow up with them enough and stay in touch, and we don't continue to call these people and stay on top of them. And so ultimately that person is the same person who's getting sold to us from realtor.com for $250
So,
lead, you know?
yeah, well, again, and to just absolutely hammer this point to death and hammer it home, I did that last year. I did 9 deals. I made about $32,000 last year from internet leads. And he paid for them. And that's why being on a team is beneficial, because being on the team with Durbin, DJ, everybody, I've learned how to do it in addition to making phone calls, in addition to open houses. And that's it. There's 3 things. 9 deals was about $2.1 million in volume, about $32,000 in cash that I earned because I called people as they came through. And 90% of it was people saying to F off, I don't want a house. We're not, even though they just put their information into a document, every single person, I text them, I call them, I email them, I call them again. And if they don't answer after the second call, then they go into a follow-up thing where it reminds me to do that again tomorrow. And then I do that, and usually they answer, and I eventually get a yes or a no. And I'm sifting through, it's just panning for gold. It is the simplest thing, but you just have to have a little system around it. So again, with the, I mean, we don't have to go for another 15 minutes, but with the end of it. So on an annual basis, based on these numbers, well, you said 18, that's 36. 15 hours in real estate each week, I should be doing 36 deals. How many people actually do that? Not that many.
Nobody puts that time in. The people who do, I know people who have, and I know the people who do, and they're the ones that are, you know, the freaking superstars.
I know who does too, because they freaking close 36 deals. The numbers don't lie. That's what you said it 3 times. Business is math, right? Like it just,
well, yeah,
the
and
numbers aren't fake. You either do it or you don't.
You either put in the time, right? Like most people never do this stuff. They just don't. Most people in our industry, they wait to get referrals. And that's why they, you know, a lot of people fall out the first year or two. That's why they only do 7 deals, you know, the average is 5 deals or whatever, because you just wait to get something that comes in, and then maybe the second year you get a little bit more, and it's just such slow growth because you're just waiting to receive business, as opposed to like those who really want to make the money, you can just go do it and get there as fast as you want. You just have to put the time in.
Right. Referrals also, not to say it's wrong, but just to like counter devil's advocate, you can do the same thing with referrals, but you actually have to call your past clients. You have to call your aunts and uncles and friends and ask for referrals the same way that you call a buyer lead from Facebook.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that you still have to call 300 people to get 10 deals. And the same math applies regardless of your lead source. Referrals is just, it's not as predictable because there's not as many hand raisers where like someone in an open house is the hand raiser. Referrals can be an excellent source of business, but you still have to do 300 to 10 deals, 300, 500 calls to 10 deals. Like that still applies.
Yeah, I agree.
So, and the next part is after you break this down, where, okay, I'm going to work for 15 hours. And this, again, with the thing that I emailed you guys is page 5, now page 6, where it's activity and ratios. And then you go into page 8, 9, 10, there's different marketing and lead sections where you can fill in the document. Jimmy, you just to use your example, because like, number one, I appreciate you texting me because you were so jazzed up about how well the open house went. And it's really exciting to hear that, number one, but like you have that open house. You don't have to do it every weekend, but what you do have to be aware of is that if you don't do it at least 2 or 3 times a month, that is when you'll be in a position where if you only have 1 or 2 deals in the pipeline, you strangle yourself from a lack of volume. It's like an abundance versus scarcity sort of thing. Like if someone calls you and they tell you to get out of it, like, you know, fuck off, like you're like, well, that's not very nice. I'm going to go do an open house this weekend and get 5 more people. And then your life becomes a little bit easier in real estate, where you just realize that every difficult scenario is going to be replaced by 3 more happy, generous, lovely people you're going to work with. And it becomes a lot easier as a job and a business. So
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, I mean, open houses, Facebook, online leads, and referrals. I mean, just call it referrals and open houses, because like you can call people for $0 that you already have their phone number, and open houses are 0. So we already did the numbers with that. I mean, what's, you know, just for like the last couple of minutes here. I mean, do you want to, I guess, what are their like high level lead sources?
Well, if I was starting out right now and I had no marketing budget or a couple $100 a month. I mean, I obviously have a database now. A lot of you have a database. If you're from here, I would be going super deep on my database. I would be working for sell by owners or expireds. I always like the expireds. There aren't, the expireds and FSBOs have been difficult last year. We just got Shanty working FSBOs. And I think he's got 2 or 3 listings already. He's been doing it for a month and a half. He's crushing it. He's going on a couple listing appointments every week right now. And he just started calling them and making an effort towards for sale by owners. They are absolutely free. He doesn't even use, like we pay for lead sources come in. All you do is go to Zillow, run a for sale by owner search, draw a big circle map around the area that you want, and all the phone numbers and contact information is right there. And that's an easy game, because all that is just staying in touch with somebody until they're ready. They just give up. Absolutely free source. I would be working database for sell by owners, open houses as much as I could. And if I had any money, I'd just be running Facebook ads. So I have 40, 50 people to call every month, and continue to feed my database with that. Yeah. I mean, that's a 50 deal a year business for nothing.
Yeah, and that's 4 pillars. If you take away 1 pillar, that's still a 40.
Take the leads away and just do open houses,
or switch, or just don't do the open houses. You know what I mean? Like but you need, like, to stress the point, you need 3. You need 3. 4 is better.
Well, no, I would disagree with that. I don't know that 4 is better, or
I think you need
3.
2 or 3 then.
You could only do FSBOs and go super deep with it, and you would get so good over the next couple of months that you'd be doing 2 or 3 a month.
Right.
And you could do 30 of those. The people who only concentrate and just go super deep on a particular source get there faster, but you have to commit to it. Right. Like, you have to be on the role play calls with DJ. Like, I've been on every role play call. I've been on every sales trip. Like he is as good as anybody in the country with these. Like they're really good people, but if you want to get really good on the phone calling sellers, he can get you there. He trained Tim and Angela. They came in here, knew nothing. Neither of them sold any houses. They trained with him for a month. They were setting listings and could pretty much do it at a clip every 3 hours. Angela would walk in here, pick up the phone for 3 hours, set 2 listing appointments, turn around, leave, and walk out.
It's $10,000.
Like it's just a matter of committing to it and getting it's the same rebuttals every time. It's just a monotonous game, but you can only do one and go really deep on it and get there. But you don't have to do that much. You don't have to have this amazing social media ad campaign and be making fucking TikTok video, like all the horse shit that you see out there. You don't need any of that. You could get to whatever your goal is with 1 or 2 lead sources. You always have to be feeding your database. So your sphere and your database goes hand in hand with people that you meet in an open house need to be continually fed into that thing because that's your future business. But I mean, you can do 30, 40 deals, make $250,000 this year off of for sale by owners and open houses if you commit to it and you do it all and you do them all the time. Like you have to always be in there. When I was in Florida, I would do open houses. I mean, it was Florida and it was a different time back then. Everything was vacant because the market had just crashed and it was on its way back up. I bought a jetpack. I had a little fold out table and I would sit at open houses during the week. I would just put signs out and I would just work at a vacant house and just have open house signs. And randomly people would walk in and I got buyers that way. Like it's just a matter of committing to something and just going super deep with it.
Yeah, well, and so to that though too, what I just wrote down to myself was just a note to remember what I just said, because I agree with what you just said, and what I just said, here, I'm gonna put myself back up. Can you hit the on your screen? We don't have to, but yeah, all right. What I just said, I think is wrong. Truly, where I said 3 to 4, I think that that's what I did to start. And Durbin, what you said is it's the chasing the shiny object thing, I think, is the problem. And I still have that where it's a thing that I need to overcome, where it's now that I'm doing better, I really actually only do 1 to 2 things, is what he said. I like the 1 to 2 things for me. It is a lot of social media, online leads, lead sources like HomeLight, like OpCity, those things. I have a system around it. I already described it, where it's a call, text, email, call, set it up the next day, call, text, email, call, and then it's on a lead drip after that. And so it's that, and it's sphere and past clients. I'm lucky to be from here. That certainly helps, being from where you work, but you don't have to, because he's not from here. He built a bigger business than 99% of people in real estate do. And so the last piece of it is start with 1, add a second. Michael Jordan didn't play soccer, he played basketball. It's just like everybody who's great, seriously, everyone who's fucking phenomenal at the thing that they do that and they don't do a whole lot else. It's the truth. And it's like, you can do open houses, but where I feel stress comes from is, oh my God, I got to call these open houses and my phone's blowing up from the online lead sources. There's 40 people in there that I haven't called. And then, oh my God, the seller's calling me because the paperwork. It's just like, that's where you start to lose your mind. But if it's just the consistent, like, I call for sale by owners, I have a system for that. Open houses on the
comes down
weekends.
to schedule.
Yeah. And that's a whole another 4.5 hours of talking.
Yeah, that's a whole nother can of worms.
So do you guys have any questions or ideas as far as like what are you doing now? What do you think you could do better? What do you want to try? Maybe that sort of thing. And maybe we can
I'll jump on here
go here, unmute,
as much as you want. What do you need help with?
unmute yourself.
Right. What do you need? You need help with figuring out how to get more leads. You need help with schedule. You need help with what are you gonna, You tell me.
I need to personally work towards getting a schedule together and making sure I can get on.
Hey, sorry. Joe, say that again.
I said I need to work on getting a schedule together. That's my biggest part. I'm not so worried about leads. I want to try running a Facebook ad or two and see what happens there, but I'm going to work towards getting a schedule together to actually make some calls, because I do have a couple for sale by owners that I'm looking into, and it's just a matter of actually committing to it. And
Well,
Doing-
yeah, the reason that you don't make the call, right, is because you don't know what to say. If you knew what to say, it makes making the call easy, right? Like when I first started out and I didn't know what to say, I sat there and researched the hell out of every for sale by owner that I wanted to call and gave myself a reason where I was going to talk myself out of calling them because they were never going to listen with me. And you just totally mind fuck yourself into not doing the work. So if you do the training, get one good opening script down and just use it until you realize it doesn't work anymore, or you keep running into the same thing. And then you go back and you get a better objection. All these are just practice. Just assume you're going to never get any of the first 20 people that you call, and just pick up the phone and make the call and just start asking. When in doubt, just ask questions.
Right. Well, so, and then
The last part of that too is, just to respect the fact that we're almost done here. Call your for sale by owners, DJ's opening call script, it's ring, ring, and they go, hello, or they go, hello, it's hello, you mirror and match that. Hey, I'm calling about the home for sale. And they just don't fucking say anything. And then just like, that's your question. And they'll just go, yeah, and then they'll just start talking. And as they say stuff, just ask them questions. Like, that's it. And there's a whole lot more detail to make it better and easier, but like that, it's just mirror and match their tonality, the intensity, and then end it like I just said, where it's calling about the home for sale, where like you can even laugh like this, and then people feel a little bit better. We're like, yeah, I will fuck off, thanks. And then they'll just like stop. It's the little details that matter, and just doing it consistently. So it's 1 o'clock. Thank you, Matt Durbin. And guys, again, we'll figure out the timing of all of this, but again, I think that Kenny, just with your schedule. I mean, Wednesday role play calls. Jimmy, you were sending me DJs recorded calls. You were watching them the past couple of nights. It's just like easier to help, and there's a lot of YouTube videos, and we have a lot of recorded calls too. So just like the work on your business, watch an hour of role play calls and just write down what you think, and then ask DJ questions. Or Durbin,
Kenny, look up YouTube, Jay Kinder, how to make a $250,000 in real estate with for sale by owners. He's got a video on there.
Yeah, just 20 minutes at a time. Like
I probably watched it. That thing's been on there for probably 12 years. I don't know how old it is. It's old. I watched that so many times to just put myself in the mindset of calling for sale by owners. Like, it's just a quick video. He walks you through the process, what you should say, how do you get them to negotiate down their commission. Like, it's just getting something and getting you in the correct mindset to just make the calls. And then once you start making them, they get easier. The starting is the hardest part with
everything.
Outbound prospecting.
Yeah. And it's day 75 of 75 hard for me. I'm gonna eat so much
There
pizza.
you go, Pete.
Yeah, the hardest part is I've been doing 75 hard for 5 goddamn months. And it took me 5 iterations. This is the 6th time.
Yeah, I feel like you've been doing this.
Well, and so
since,
this is just like the perfect ending where it's
2019.
just like, and then I failed 5 times.
How are you
Just
eating
like,
pizza tomorrow morning?
And now I'm gonna drink so many beers on Saturday. But all right, guys, thank you for jumping on, and please let me know like what you didn't like, and how we can get better at it. So I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Joe.
See you later, gentlemen.
Yeah.